so began my personal journey to understand how these different worlds relate. The world of atoms and molecules and the world of complex human experiences. In a material and impermanent cosmos in the age of science, what is it that has meaning, and how can we find it? My quest would lead me to the laboratories of Nobel-prize-winning scientists.
It was really interesting to hear all these ends of scientific and philosophical discussions about, basically what it is that makes the human experience, I guess, would be a way to sum all this up. It was interesting that the filmmaker, the primary subject, who is a scientist who didn't believe beyond the material, was discovering that there was something, beyond just the basics of science. When he has this kind of transcendental moment under the stars. I'm glad that he in addition to talking to scientists, he talked to philosophers and faith leaders, talking to the Dalai Lama. It was nice to have the Dalai Lama on screen talking about the importance of scientific progress and research. I think it kind of shows that this, if nothing else, this to me, this film shows that there's a balance on all sides, of faith and science people, that science people can engage in faith, and faith people definitely can engage in science. That was kind of my takeaway.
It feels like a combination of what would happen if philosophical met pragmatic. And it's so interesting how it all stemmed from scientists who devotes themselves to the facts, to logic, ends up having this spiritual moment and is trying to make logical sense of what we find spiritual, and it delves him into this rabbit hole of trying to find scientific answers towards very philosophical questions, such as what is life, what is beyond, what comes after. And it was such a very interesting watch, just seeing him tackle each of these concepts.
I enjoyed the questioning that he put to the different scientists of, if you could press the button to find the origins of consciousness, would you? Very interesting. All the women scientists said no, they want to experience the journey and the path. And the male scientists all said yes right away, they would press the button. I thought that was just so great. By the end, we find out that there was a study on gravity, and that gravity affects time travel, light. And in their LIGO station, the amazing discovery of a signal of two black holes colliding. How amazing. They also stress that the true life origins will be found maybe someday after studying more off the planet of the universe, is what they mean.
At the core of it, this man searched for truth. It's featured as reenactments of his childhood, over reenactments of other things, over VL, intercut with like talking head interviews and interview styles with various experts. This whole piece felt very much like an exploration. It touches on so many things: cosmic origins, how galaxies are formed, answers the question, how did the universe begin? And you have all these experts in a various field giving you a better understanding of how the world works. And I think overall, he wanted to follow the atoms of his body back through time to connect them to particular stars, and then kind of leaves us with the message of, if I were to follow the atoms now into the future, it would show that I'm connected to so many other people that, obviously we haven't met yet, or that do not exist yet. And I just think it was all about the search for how we are all connected, how everything works, and how one thing leads to another.
The mix between sci-fi and religious, and the mix between science fiction, which is not that much science fiction anymore, and the meaning of life. For example, what I really liked is the scene with the head of the robot, they're talking, and what they say, the narrators say, if that head was hidden behind a curtain, everyone would think that this is an actual person. So this is not much sci-fi anymore. I mean, Terminator was 40 years ago, and that was sci-fi. But nowadays, with the new AI coming in, etc., these things, they're not a dream anymore. They're not stories for films and books, but they're becoming real. And I really love all that quote that we have in the film, that life, we never stop and think that life is a gift. And I think that was a very powerful line to say.
I loved the interviews, listening to each of the, scientists and the philosophers talk about our brain and kind of asking these questions that I think we've all asked ourselves at one point in time. I also like how the filmmakers set up his story, talking about him being in the boat and everything like that. The music that they chose, spot on. I thought it was really beautiful. It added just another element to the piece. It added another layer. They also, the filmmakers were smart in choosing these graphic effects to help explain the concept of what the scientists were talking about. And it made it really a lot easier to understand. One of my favorite parts of this was listening to the Dalai Lama's wisdom. That was just so very cool, being able to get time with the Dalai Lama and just the listening to him answer the questions and his advice and his wisdom behind it. I just thought was awesome.
Combines the scientific curiosity with, we could say, a spiritual curiosity about what gives us a sense of wonder and what makes us humans and us. It's really interesting, the different expert perspectives that are engaged, the different angles of everything from robotics and neuroscience and atom particles to philosophy. Definitely makes you think differently about the world and sparks a sense of wonder.